Gladius Romae sum, Belisarius.
In Riffelmar, a previously small town in North Varadal, was ruled under Lord Variah. After he had died, his eldest son Variah took his father's place. Variah was a skilled warrior and tactician. He was noticed by Emperor Rayhan and made him one of his most trusted generals. After winning several battles for Rayhan, the emperor attempted to betray him after seeing how popular he was amongst his armies. This attempted assassination failed, however, leading to Variah to fight against his former emperor. With his skill and popularity, he easily won against the nepotistic emperor. With no ruler under him, he rose to declare himself emperor of IKARASAI and directly challenged the rule of the IKARASAI, who had been fighting for more than a century amongst each other. This should have united the squabbling armies of the IKARASAI, but due to greed and personal ambition, both Ludzar and Irelon still fought each other, but now fighting Variah, leading him to easily win against the two, killing them both by hand. To give himself legitimacy, when he arrived to Alvandor, Variah married the eldest daughter of Ludzar the Horrid, IKARASAI, now named Melenazir. There he had restored stability to the empire and was declared emperor by the matriarch of Alvandor, the sacred mandate of leadership now handed over to him. Emperor Variah I, now known as Variah the Great, for the first 20 years of his rule developed his domain. He renovated the ancient Ludzar walls of Alvandor, strengthened his allies and loyal noble houses under him, and improved the tax code, making it more reliable and efficient. But Variah was not a peacetime emperor. He wanted to feel the thrill of war once again, and thankfully there was an opportunity. First, he wanted to pacify the chaotic Voldic clans who fought everyone, and even themselves. Variah secured key alliances with the most powerful ones, and managed to subdue the disloyal clans, and placed the Avradgard clan to rule over the new region of Valda as their lords. Then he moved his sights south. During the Civil War, Arcadia seized the entirety of the region of Advan Sadrashai and persecuted the Northern Orthodox temples within it, and replacing them with Imperial priestesses. Seeing this as a perfect opportunity to test out his armies, he formed an army of 40,000, of not just any soldiers, but his own personal armies who fought loyally with him since the day of Rayhan III. Despite being outnumbered almost 3-1, he managed to successfully beat back Arcadia, kicking them entirely off of Kintera. He also kicked out the Imperial temples and restored the Orthodox ones and their own priestesses, now seeing him as their liberator. Then he set his sights eastward against an incoming Istishai incursion into Gardora. Istishai was a region which has historically been very difficult to conquer due to the large number of wild monks, magisters, and a heavy warrior culture. To subdue them, Variah had to instead do diplomacy. He could use their soldiers for his later conquests, as they were known to be extremely powerful. So he arranged a meeting with the chief of the largest Istishai clan, the Issachar tribe, offering an alliance. In exchange, Variah's eldest son married the daughter of the chief to secure it, and she would be made to live in Alvandor. After that, he came to Elleril and forced a vassalage under IKARASAI. Fearing conquest, King Elikiar IV submitted without a fight. For the first time in IKARASAI history, the entire subcontinent was conquered and unified under one banner, with the remaining Istishai clans getting subdued by the Issachar clan. Variah then began to prepare his greatest conquest yet, one directly against Arcadia itself, and the goal to conquer Eleanor itself. In 521 ABA, the conquests began, with over 400,000 under Variah's banners crossing the Elireli Crystal Strait and marching through northern Haranon to attack the unprepared eastern flank. Empress Midria immediately sent an army of 500,000 to intercept them, with Lord Anuvera leading them. The Arcadians were confident in winning, primarily because they had the largest army of militant witches in Ardell, numbering 10,000. But Variah had a trick up his sleeve. Historically, IKARASAI never had the resources to train as many witches as Arcadia, with their skills and code varying heavily between matriarchs in IKARASAI. But before his conquest, Variah gathered every grand witch from IKARASAI and even many wild monk elders to form a unified but still decentralized magister code, leading to IKARASAI building up a strong army of 5,000 witches. Not as much as Arcadia, but a lot more than they expected. The conquest lasted for 5 years, with a resounding IKARASAI victory. For the first time in the history of Ardell, the crimson and gold and black banners of IKARASAI flew over the Farya I in Eleanor, marking the start of the Second Imperial Golden Age. Variah's descendants later became known for integrating the region effectively, leading to IKARASAI ruling over the new lands for 200 years. Variah's son, Inushvai I, created the Velmigard, named after his father, who would protect future emperors for centuries to come. However, that's when the Melanixir began to decline. In 983 ABA, Emperor Irelon V died without a proper heir from a dueling accident, leading to the entire imperial court going into chaos. Emperor Lutsar VIII took the throne only by the age of 12, leading to many to take advantage of the situation. Elirel declared itself independent and refused to pay tribute. The Issachar clan was overthrown by a coalition of rebel clans that led to IKARASAI getting kicked out, and a lot of the lands of northern Haranon and eastern Arcadia were lost as a result. The chaos led to a usurpation of the throne by Lutsar's uncle, Rayhan V, to keep the throne from collapsing into another civil war. But this would not last, as the northern Valds were about to make their move. The usurpation could not come at a worse time, as Rayhan V had to deal with enemies from all sides. Arcadia was planning a full-scale invasion, raids from his Dashaic clans, and the Valds threatening to conquer IKARASAI completely. Lord Elmir Avradgard of Valdgard saw the instability as an opportunity to invade and take control of IKARASAI completely. He formed an army of 10,000 Valdic warriors and another 5,000 IKARASAIC soldiers from other lords and counts that did not support Rayhan V, quickly taking control of Raitholmar and the entirety of the north. Rayhan sent an army of 20,000, which he had managed to completely destroy. Elmir then, with an army of 30,000, besieged the city of Alvandor to force a surrender of the throne. After 4 months of siege, Rayhan abdicated and Elmir was crowned as emperor. The Dora of Radunai was the first and only human dynasty of IKARASAI. The Valds became the new elites of the empire and now controlled the military and made up half of the Velmigard. But Elmir was not an idiot. He knew that if he remained in his old ways, it would only be a matter of time until he was overthrown. So his family and the Valds overall began to Ikarise. House Avradgard was renamed to Dora Vardunai. Elmir converted to the Orthodox Covenant. His family was made to learn both Valdic and IKARASAIC languages, and the Valds began to blend their tradition with IKARASAIC ones. Militarily, the Valds managed to keep the empire afloat too. The Stashaic clans were pushed back, and a wall of fortifications were constructed along the borderlands known as the Elmir Line. The IKARASAIC invasion was repelled by one of Elmir's sons, Yort Burnside, and the failed rebellion of Dororaimir was put down by Emperor Thoric I. Even though the dynasty lasted for 197 years, a total of 5 emperors ruled IKARASAI and managed to keep it stable until the last emperor. Thoric II left the Aulanite Covenant to return to ancient Valdic tradition, which led to the elvish part of the Velmigard to overthrow him under the orders of the matriarch of Elvandor, putting the captain of the Velmigard, Azria Kelasir, to power as empress in the year 1122. This was the last dynasty of IKARASAI, and the shortest one yet. Empress Azria was put to power as the Valds rebelled to bring back the door of Radunai back to power under Thoric's nephew, Tiri, but she had managed to brutally suppress them completely. However, Tiri was allowed to stay within her imperial court as a financial advisor, funding her armies and projects. Under her rule, the Empire was on the defensive, increased its Dashite grades and more threats from Arcadia, and internal strife caused by the Empire becoming overall weak. Many blamed her for the collapse of the Empire at the time, but this view is ignorant for the fact that many of the factors that led to this decline were out of her control, and that she was in fact doing impressively to keep the Empire afloat. When her son Rayhan VIII took the throne in 1213 ABA, he was no different. He would be known as IKARASAI's last emperor because he would face an enemy no one could have ever predicted. One that also came from the Far East, but were far different than the Valds were. The moment they landed, it began a new age not only for IKARASAI, but the entirety of Ardell and the entire world as a result. Of course, they were